Hello, today's date is February 10th, 2015. It is 8:07 a.m. in the morning, and make this message message goes out to Alex Ansary. Alex, you've got my first video. I don't need to, I think you've pretty much seen what I had to say about the MGTOW as it relates to your videos you've done. I didn't realize this. I was going through your archives. It doesn't look like you've been around MGTOW very long, but more than maybe a little over a month, maybe two tops. So I don't know whether or not you really are new to it. I think Sandman is not the way to learn about MGTOW personally, only because there's people that predate him and have been making videos longer than him, although I understand that you did watch his first. So you talked about in your first MGTOW video about this whole thing you think a spiritual war is going on. I'm not opposed to the idea that there are forces out there in the world that could possibly disrupt things. But before I would jump on this whole idea of there being this demonic war of chess playing by some invisible forces, I would rehash the audio/video I sent you the other day, 2 days ago, on Sunday the 8th, how I talked about female nature being what it is, and how it's because I didn't mention in the video that technology and modernization and easy living has made it possible for people to manifest their more narcissistic nature, and particularly females, but I've seen it in male family members of my own, which I'm going to definitely get into in another video at some point in the near future. So I will definitely talk about that, because everyone's got family members that have fallen down this evil path, or they've got certain traits that seem like they are definitely not within your spiritual views and stuff like that. So I'm just going to talk about the female nature, because technologically speaking, women most certainly have an easier time discarding men today. And that's another thing. You've talked about the discarding of men as being some revenge thing. And it might be revenge, but I think it's revenge not out of past grievances, but more out of the fact that women know that they're inferior to men. I'm going to be all over on the map on this thing. I was going to call this my rant for the day, but I'll do another rant video for my fans. But anyways, Alex, you talk about all the different places you live in Portland, and I think that's cool too. I think Portland's a shithole. All those Pacific Northwest cities are. They're technologically they're modernized, but when it comes down to the human element, they're very they disassociate themselves with the human element totally. So anyways, getting back to women, Portland's another issue. So you're discovering, it looks like you just discovered MGTOW, or you're kind of coming new to it. Get used to MGTOW, because it's not going away. And it's not going away because men need to get forward in the world today. And there's a lot of us angry souls out there who have finally woken up to the gynocentric nature of society, the disposability of men today, even amongst other men. When was the last time you ever heard of women getting a bullet put to the back of their head in a communist country, or in Russia or China, for example? It's very rare, because, like you said, like the MGTOW movement is exposing, is that men are expendable. So we're pretty much expendable, and there's not much really you can do about it, other than the fact that this is going to be a spiritual awakening. And what my goal is to have, I'm going to tell you how weakness, and first of all, a lot of MGTOW, I'm going to say this to you, Alex, because I'm going to educate you personally. If you whether you like it or not, Alex, I'm going to give you my perspective directed to Alex Ansary, and I'm going to title the video that, so that you drive it into your thick skull. Because Okay, you admire people that are older than you. I'm 44, you're 35, so I got 9 years on you. No big deal. I'm not saying that that's a huge difference in terms of you've lived to be 35. You got good perspective, but I think it's important that this becomes a theme of your show. Is you're all over the map on these issues on global warming and all this other stuff, but you finally have caught on. I'm glad you're catching on that all these issues intertwine with some of these issues that you're talking about, like the impersonality of people in Portland and things like this. I really think that this really falls into gynocentrism as well. There's a lot of this. Female worship in society has been has had a tremendous effect in materialism on the psyche of people. And so, and it's coming from, so anyways, this idea of men, I want to talk about weaknesses because, you were talking about like not having a girlfriend, and you were saying about why you don't date, or, first of all, I disagree with you. You say women resent the fact. This was on one of your recent videos. You said women are beginning to resent the fact that men don't approach them anymore. I don't know where you come up with that crazy baloney bullshit. I don't know. I don't see any look in any woman's eyes today that they resent men for not, quote, approaching them, unquote. In fact, if you're not attractive, Alex, which is like you, me, and the vast majority of men out there, they don't want to be approached by you. So I don't know how you're able to see this resentment in women that angered that they're not being approached. They don't want you to approach them. Number one, okay, so I'm going to just clarify that. I don't know where you came up with that stupid bullshit that women resent men that don't approach them unless they're looking for Bradley Cooper or a 32-year-old Brad Pitt to approach them or something like that. Maybe possibly you got a good point there. Or some hot-looking stud, Kellen Lutz, Zac Efron. We can go on. The square jaw, the Anglo-Saxon, Aussie-looking Neanderthal actor, Russell Crowe type. So, no, women don't resent ugly guys not approaching them. And let's face it, you're ugly, I'm ugly. The vast majority of men out there are physically in the unattractive, genetically unattractive state. It's just the way it is. I hate to hurt most guys' feelings. It's just the way it is. Most of us are not attractive. I definitely know I'm not. So anyways, we get into that whole thing you're saying about women resentment. So I think that I'm not trying to tell you how to run your show. I think you should pay more attention to the issue of MGTOW because it does affect your life. In fact, you're realizing more and more that you can't really function in this world without realizing how much it affects your life. It's up there with materialism. Corporatism, I want to talk about this other issue about this the blame game. People try to find 1,001 things to blame the world's problems on. But there's this issue with women and the marginalization of men has to be brought to the forefront because I think that the next step in this world of survival is going to be male independence from the system or, quote, off the grid. Now, it may not be physical in the sense that you're not going to be able to carry a power generator with operating off of nuclear fission or whatever around with you. But off the grid doesn't necessarily mean physically off the grid. It's going to be being mobile, an ability to have having the independence to not be dependent on. And I really think that this is the future for us men. And I want to talk about all kinds of issues about, not resenting other men. Because I think right now with MGTOW, what's going on is, I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm just rambling on here. I think what's going on with MGTOW today is there's still rough edges being worked out with it. Like you've got the pussy beggars like the Barbarosas that are still addicted to the vagina. Then you got people that have sworn off women totally. Like I'm more into the line with Stardust thinking is that, you really have to kind of swear women off completely. You can't be addicted to that hole between your legs like Barbarossa is. He is a pussy beggar on steroids, okay? And so what I'm saying is that I think what your show should start to center around too is, you've started this as like some sort of independence, getting off the grid. And of course, getting off the grid is really getting off female grid. That's funny. The getting off the grid does not include, I'm going to get off the grid and bring this sweet young little damsel with me, and she's going to support me and everything. No, it's not going to be that. Getting off the grid means you're a guy going your own way. You're tired of the disposability of the shit that you've been taking and the crap, but we're not going to take it anymore. And getting off the grid means a woman's not going to be there to follow you. She ain't going to be there to follow you. She's going to stay back in Philadelphia, New York, and Cleveland, and Boston, where it's safe. She ain't getting off the grid anytime soon. So, I actually enjoy watching this change going on in society now, because what I'm seeing is women becoming more flustered with their shitty, miserable lives. I see this. I go shopping a lot, okay? And I go to the grocery store, and I observe around me. And what I see more is more female workers in grocery stores. Because let's face it, management positions are all going to women now. They're miserable. Do you think these women are happy in their shitty, low-paying union grocery jobs? I don't think so. And it's a situation where I just don't feel sorry for them anymore. They ask for this bullshit and they're getting it. They're not off the grid. Men have more skills to get off the grid than women do. Will men stick together? It's probably not. I think right now MGTOW is evolving into you're every man for himself. I think I will say that group cohesion is going to be necessary, but it's not going to be group cohesion. We need women in the picture too. It's going to be we're a bunch of men who realize the fucked up nature of things, and we've got to embrace and love each other for who we are, because we were born in this position. Right now we're not even close to that. Most men are. I mean, I saw a movie not too long ago. I was watching this movie. Okay, it was with Meg Ryan and Tim Robbins. It was called IQ. It was from 1994. And, you couldn't resist Meg Ryan when she was really hot in her late 20s, early 30s. She really looked good. And I was thinking, God, wouldn't it be great to fall in love, be sitting on a little boat on a little lake and kissing a girl? And, that shit is just a chemical. It is an intoxicating chemical like a cocaine high. And it's just as destructive as the cocaine high too. That love doesn't exist. It's just there to get you to dump your load and create a baby and then live the rest of your life struggling in the corporate world of work your ass off and be miserable or be a corporate slave. It doesn't exist. Now, I tell you one thing. We unattractive men, which is the majority of us men, including myself, you, we have a major advantage because we're not wanted anyway. So society really doesn't value me personally. I mean, even if I won the Boston Marathon tomorrow, it would have no value for me. So we have nothing to lose in this situation by going our own way and evolving into a Renaissance man. The MGTOW Renaissance man. We're going to evolve into these people that learn to identify how valuable we really are. I mean, just the fact that a guy, I'll tell you how simple this is. A man can fix a flat tire on the side of a road, whereas most women cannot do it. Okay, change a flat tire. Okay, that alone makes you more valuable than the average woman. The fact that you're physically stronger and you can pop the top off of a jar. I know that sounds simple. There's tools for that now, but that alone should give you some value to yourself. Okay, the fact that your cognitive ability makes it easier for you to comprehend how a computer works. Women have had to rely on men to invent things called apps for things like iPhones in order for them to survive. I mean, did you ever notice that the dumbest people are always the ones with the most technological advanced stuff? You had, I mean, and now the same thing with the TSA. These guys got little substandard IQs, and they're using modern technology to perform their job. And now, of course, you have the airheaded bimbo female of all ethnic groups and races, playing around with their stupid iPhones. I don't even have an iPhone. I have an Obama phone. I have the simplest phone you can imagine. I've never been caught up in this stuff. But stupid people, this world, the fact that you're a man and you're capable of putting these pieces together the way we have, this world together, proves that the male does not need the female. I really think that I talked about the codependency on the womb. It's about the only thing a woman really offers. Her vagina is an offer. I could dump my load in the shower once a day if I'm really horny, and there is my sex for the day. Okay, the womb is the only really thing that women are bargaining with at this point, and we're working on a. I'm sure technology and Brave New World will work on that too. But this sounds like an angry rant here. But I think that you should talk about this subject more and try to formulate your own opinions on it too, because I think that it's good to get more multiple perspectives on this. I am not a TFL MGTOW that's angry about pussy. This is not about pussy, about how I don't have access to easy vagina. This is me viewing the world and seeing how pathetic men have stooped themselves to garner the attention of a woman and work themselves to the bone to please women, to push themselves to the limit, as Warren Farrell would say, on the battlefield, the football field, where men will go play sports to impress female cheerleaders. This shit is got to stop. And I don't value anything female anymore. I have nothing value. Oh, it's beautiful. It's artistic. Yeah, I guess you could say that a beautiful picture or portrait of a woman that's very innocent looking is, I guess it is a form of art. I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact that an attractive woman in a painting or a picture isn't breathtaking. Okay, but it's toxic in the sense that it's not something within your reach. It's like wishing for something you're never going to have. Okay, it gets old and beat up and used and abused, and it's not something that stays where it's at. Okay, I wish that Meg Ryan, Tim Robbins movie could be really like it is, but in reality, all those are just as chemicals going on in the brain. It's not real. That's my rant. I was just kind of bouncing around the map here with this issue. Yeah, my job sounds pretty cruel to say that it sounds cruel to just marginalize one sex, but we are divided, and we're dealing with the diabolical nature of women in general. If you want to go around and start blaming it on these demonic forces, that's fine. It sounds like mythology to me, because you're negating the pure nature of what women are all about and what they've always been about, which is controlling men. Oh, I want to compliment you too on something. You says, where does a woman go where she values she loves her cute little boy, but she has no value for the men around her? In other words, at what point does the young boy become useless to society? And I think that's kind of arbitrary. It can be 8 or 10 years old, probably in the classroom, probably when the kid becomes cognizantly aware that he's useless. That's a very good point, because no woman would dream of abusing a 2-year-old. Well, yeah, I take that back. There's plenty of child abuse amongst women now these days, but a woman would not look down. Everyone used to always talk about how it's so touching to see a young boy with his mother, and how the woman loves her young boy, but he's discardable, and he's definitely expendable. And we men all are, unless we look like a supermodel And even then, those guys are expendable too. You remember George Clooney, I think, now is getting the divorce. All men are expendable. I mean, it's just the way it is. At least in the eyes of society, they are. And us unattractive men, which is like 90% of us or 75% of us, that MGTOW is going to be the renaissance for us, and it will evolve because more and more men are becoming aware of it. Okay, I'm going to sign out of here now. It is February 10th, 2010.